He was the only man in the village of Ehor who could play the flute, but pride blinded him, and when the boy stepped forward, everything he had worked for vanished in a single moment. In Ehor, the village woke gently under the morning sun. Women balanced pots of water on their heads. Children's laughter echoed along the dusty paths, and the steady beat of the village drums welcomed another day. In this village lived Ehis, a man known far and wide as the only flutist in the land. Many years earlier, he had traveled to a distant place to learn the sacred art of playing the flute. When he returned to Ehor, no one else knew the secrets of the music he carried. Whenever Ehis lifted his flute and blew into it, the sound floated through the air like a bird in flight. The drums answered his music, the praise singers lifted their voices, and the villagers clapped with excitement. One day, a grand ceremony was held at the palace of King Efe. As the palace praise singer chanted the heroic deeds of the king, Ehis played the flute beside him. The notes rose and fell beautifully. When the praise singer finished, Ehis performed two powerful melodies he had learned during his travels. The entire palace was silent as the music flowed. Then the king smiled with great joy. King Efe dropped silver coins into Ehis's bowl and said, "From today, whenever there is a ceremony in this palace, you shall come and play your flute for me." The villagers admired Ehis greatly. They had never heard such music before, but slowly, pride began to grow inside his heart. When the next palace ceremony came, Ehis did not appear. The king waited, but no flute was heard. So King Efe sent his guards to ask why the flutist had not come. Ehis sent back a message, "Tell the king I will only come if he sends silver coins." The king sent the silver, and Ehis came. He played again, and the king was pleased. But from that day on, whenever the king invited him, Ehis demanded more silver coins. Soon, parents from the village began bringing their sons to him. "Please teach our children how to play the flute," they pleaded. But Ehis refused, every one of them. In his heart, he thought, if others learn the flute, the king will have other choices. I must remain the only flutist in Ehor. Time passed. Slowly, King Efe grew tired of the flutist's endless demands. So one day, the king simply stopped inviting him to the palace. At first, Ehis waited calmly. Then he waited longer, but no messenger came from the palace. Still, he comforted himself. "The king cannot celebrate without my flute. Soon he will call me." Months passed. Then the great New Yam festival approached, a celebration so grand that people traveled from many villages to witness it. Ehis smiled confidently. "Surely the king will call me for this great festival." But the invitation never came. On the day of the festival, the entire village gathered at the palace. Everyone, except Ehis, who remained in his house waiting for silver coins. Then suddenly, he heard the sound of a flute drifting through the air from the palace. Not just any flute, his favorite melody. Ehis jumped to his feet in shock and ran toward the palace. When he arrived, he stopped suddenly. Before the king stood a young boy named Omon, playing the flute with great skill. The music filled the palace courtyard. King Efe smiled with joy and dropped silver coins into the boy's bowl. Visitors stepped forward, dropping more coins and more coins. Soon, the bowl was filled with silver. Ehis stared in disbelief. In all the years he had played for the king, he had never received that many coins. But he never realized that each time he performed for the king, a young boy named Omon stood nearby, quietly studying the way he played the flute. At that moment, the truth struck him like thunder. The king would never call him again. His pride had cost him the blessing he should have protected. Ashamed, the once famous flutist quietly turned and walked away from the palace, the dust of Ehor rising behind his slow steps. Moral pride can take away the very gift that raised you. When you refuse to share your knowledge, someone else will rise and take your place.